I thought it was our most complete match of the year. I thought we were very consistent throughout. Thought we controlled the ball better. We've been working a lot on ball control. It's a big piece for us. As you can see, our block is pretty dynamic and can really mess with a lot of people. So can we serve the ball more accurately? Can we be calmer on our side in the scramble plays, get more swings? And I thought, we did a much better job of that. So that was really exciting to see.
What a difference 8 games can make. What do you, from your perspective, what is just the biggest difference from the last time that you faced that Oregon State team to where you guys are now? Because clearly it shows in the scores and the stats. It's a lot different.
From the exhibition? I used the exhibition to see who we all were, and to see how we would handle an environment that wasn't our own gym and against us. So we had a lot of different people. We had rotating lineups. So it was exactly what it was supposed to be. I wasn't worrying about getting a win in the exhibition. But I was seeing where we could go, and it was really helpful for us, to kind of figure out who we are, what our identity is. And we've had a lot of growing opportunities in the last couple weeks since that. And I think we've learned a lot. I think we're definitely becoming a much better team. There's a lot less hesitation on the floor, which is massive, for us. Again, we've lost a lot of ball control to graduation here, so we've had a lot of new pieces that are trying to figure out what to do by each other and what they should be taking, what their responsibilities are. And so I thought tonight it looked like everybody knew what they were trying to do, and that was exciting throughout. And again, we're just finding, Chris is really starting to figure out her offense. I thought our connections tonight were really solid with everybody. When we get our middles involved and we get Noemi going, it's just totally different when it's not just the Mimi show. And I think it was like halfway through the second set, I looked up and she was maybe last in kills on our team. I'm like, that's a good sign, and then you're going to get a dose of her when the time comes. But, I thought that was really, really exciting for us.
Coach, do you feel like, go ahead.
What was Kristen passing?
Say it again. What did we pass? I think we only passed over a 2 is what Jerry told me, which I think he's pretty tough. We'll see what the analytics say. But I felt like we were in system more. I thought Chris was able to choose who she wanted to set. So I thought it felt good. But the numbers say we didn't pass great. But I'll take whatever we did today consistently. So I thought that was pretty good. And again, when that happens, everybody's involved. I mean, some of those swings that Oni hits, like, it's just, nobody's going to be able to do anything about them. I've never seen anyone do some of the things that she does. So I'm happy she's on our team. And again, we're starting to figure out how to really use her best. If we control the ball, then we get to get her involved more.
What did you discover during that road trip and in this game, and what do you take from these last several wins heading obviously into Big Ten conference play?
I think every time we get out there, you really just see more and more what we're doing consistently or inconsistently, and so we go back to practice. So we had, after Portland State, we had a really tough practice on Friday. And normally it's not a practice I'd want to do this time of year when generally our bodies can't take it, but it was a lot of ball control, a lot of bending, really tough, grueling type of practice, high standards. And I think overall what we've learned is our standards that have been set by the group, whether they know it or not, are not high enough. And so I think that everybody really needs to elevate what they're capable of doing, believing what they're capable of doing. And so just really pushing the group to see all the different things that they can do differently. And again, it was a really good practice. They handled it very well. I was very thankful. They knew after we were really sloppy against Portland State. They all knew that it wasn't going to be a fun practice on Friday. They said, we are anticipating this not being a fun practice and we're ready for the challenge, which was great. And again, they responded well. And I thought they saw really immediate results today from that. So for us, we'll continue to dissect where we can elevate our game. But it's getting closer.
Development, the group you have on the floor at the end, just what do moments like that, what can they mean to players, teams, programs in terms of development kind of long term?
Yeah, we don't have as many red shirts, this year as we have in the past. So I don't know, the last 2 years, I feel like we haven't even had those moments really to get people extra playing time just because they weren't even available to do it. So, I think it's massive. There's no way you can substitute. There's a couple thousand people out there cheering and, high stress and everybody's staring at you and the other team's coming and you can't simulate that in practice. It's just not the real thing. So how do you handle your nerves and how do you execute? And again, I thought everybody did a great job that we were able to give a lot of people those moments tonight. And we did that against Portland State and I thought we didn't handle it well. I thought tonight we handled it better. So again, they're just starting to get more people are gaining experience. And so those moments are less scary moving forward.
Naomi just talked about how she was able to bring more of like a competitive edge. Last time it was just an exhibition, but now it's a real rivalry game. What are some of the benefits of keeping the rivalry, especially heading into a really competitive Big Ten conference play?
I mean, we'll have to do research, but I got to think that for a non-conference match at home, this is probably our biggest crowd since I've been here, right? Without the school back. So that's one thing, right? Look at the crowd. The crowd's excited for this match. So again, I think that really provides us what we need, some experience with the big crowd before we get into Big Ten play, which, we're going to have a lot of those. I'm expecting Friday's going to be a really big crowd, probably double what we just had. So it's nice to be able to ramp up into that a little bit. So I think that was good. And again, this week, we didn't know what our next week's schedule was going to look like. It could have been the at Ohio State, at Penn State next week, right? We didn't know. So when we're scheduling, we wanted to be home fourth weekend, this weekend before going into conference play, just because of the travel piece. So being able to be here, being able to play the two locals, I think it was great. And then for the fans, obviously they enjoyed it and they were loud, and it was, I think, a good taste in our players' mouths after today.
Are there merits to considering different priorities, though, man? Because y'all have dominated this series. And like, if Scott Ruick's not going to play them in women's basketball, and that's being competitive, and that sells both places. They don't draw particularly well. They haven't been competitive. Washington State is the more competitive team of the two remaining Pac-12. Is there merits to re-examining what there is to the future of this, for this particular sport for you guys?
I think we will always re-examine what's going on, but there was a lot of unknown this year, right? Going into the conference, which we've never done. And again, we didn't have a set schedule. So the fact that we're home next weekend, okay, maybe we could have been on the road this week, but we didn't know that when it's time to schedule. We scheduled these things months ago, right? And we didn't get our conference schedule for a while. But no, I think it's important for our players to see what a rivalry is like, and I think tradition does matter. And in my opinion, Oregon State might be down a little bit right now, but I think they have a really good coach and a really good coaching staff, and I think they're going to become a really good team more and more. So I just want to keep that game, and I'm excited that we get to do that.
Block was certainly significant today, but anything else defensively? Because it's only the third time in 10 years they've been held to 0.
I thought our block was so good. Obviously the numbers are good, but I thought even the block stuffs that we didn't get, we made great block touches, and we just slowed everything down. Again, I thought we served, even though we didn't have a ton of aces, although 6 is not bad, but we didn't have a ton of aces. I thought we were putting pressure consistently on them. Our blockers, I thought, were making great reads. I thought our coverage was so good they normally score on a lot of those plays, and they didn't, because I thought of what we did. Was excellent. We had really good execution. And then when your block is set up because of the serve, all of a sudden our floor defense, we know exactly where to go. We know the gaps we need to fill, and it just all works together. So again, I don't think them hitting 0 was a negative on them. I think we were really good today. I think if we do that against a lot of teams, they're going to have a hard time scoring. But, again, the key for us is we have not been very consistent. Today we were very consistent. And if we can be consistent moving forward, then we're going to be just fine.
Where does that success in the blocking game come from? Both Noemi and Oni talked about the practice, but how do you can you teach that? Is that something kind of they're naturally gifted with? How do you find success in that?
I'd like to think I can teach things. I hope so. I hope that's why I'm here. But this group is very physical at the net. Our shoulders are very strong. Noemi, Colby, you guys, you hit their shoulders, they ain't going anywhere. They're not budging, So they're able to fight off just a ton of plays. Again, I thought number 4 from Oregon State tried to tool the block multiple times, and she probably scores on that a lot. Noemi's arms didn't go anywhere. She had 10 blocks in a 3-set match. No, that's got to be a record. I don't know. That's crazy. But we're really physical. And, Coach Rad, there's no better strength coach in the country than Coach Rad, and he's our guy. And he loves working with this group, and they love working with him. So I think they're in great shape. And our game plan was strong, and we executed really well. So a lot of things go into it.
Don't mean to kind of bring this back up, but earlier in pregame, I was noticing you and Coach Bohanec talking. Just if you can share what were you guys talking about, and what do you kind of say again to that program that's still trying to figure out their identity and moving forward, obviously with them in the future.
We're talking about kind of where we're at, the struggles that we both have. We're trying to figure out how to become our best versions of ourselves. And I feel like hopefully I have a lot of coaching friends in the community, and that's someone that I can rely on also, and hopefully I can be there for her. And so we're working for each other. Again, we want them to win every other match from here on out, right? We don't want them to drop another one. So anything that we can do to help each other, and that's what they want from us too. So since we're not in the same conference anymore, we can really cheer for each other, which I know sounds weird in the rivalry, but we can cheer for each other throughout.
about a lot about being aggressive. Now that this team has a little bit more experience just through the preseason, are you seeing that aggression kind of come out the way that I know ball control is a big focus, but are you seeing the level of aggression that you want to see heading into Big Ten play from them?
I mean, a big piece for us is connections, right? So figuring out the setter. Robbie started for us. The first one has been Chris since, but even both of them in practice, really finding out where the hitters want the ball. Hitters really starting to trust the setters. And again, we go pretty fast in our offense, so you really have to have that relationship dialed in. Again, I thought today was the best we looked consistently throughout. So when you're starting to feel confident where that ball's going to be, you're going in to tear the leather off of it, And I thought tonight everybody was doing that. And again, that's just going to put a ton of pressure on the other side.
Collier, you mentioned it earlier how she was still making plays even though she was lowest on the team in kills. I'm just curious, what's it like for you as a coach to have a player that no matter where you plug her, she's going to make a positive impact for your team?
I mean, Mimi's amazing, So she's been amazing since day one stepping on campus. So again, for her, everybody has an adjustment right now. There's not one person doing the same job they did for us last year, right? So Mimi, again, is learning how to go past to attack, being a serving target, how to bring even more defense and ball control. She's trying to figure out how to become a leader on the court, where she's had some great leaders around her for the last 2 years where she didn't really need to be looked upon for that. And it's a challenge. And again, when I'm talking about raising the standards, we had a conversation this week about raising standards, and her standards are already high, but they need to be higher, and she can execute even better. And I thought today the errors that she made, I loved the errors that she made. I thought her intent was so good throughout the whole match. And again, if she does that, whether they know they're looking to her or not, everybody's noticing what Mimi does, right? She's one of those players. Oni's the same way. It's like, what they're doing, and we need them. We need them to be great examples for everybody else. And again, the more that they are, everybody's calmer around them, and then we play better as a group.